Well, hello everyone. Happy Friday to you. I hope you're having a great day. Well, hey, that's it. We made it another week. God kept us and blessed us. He's been good to us. What do you say? Let's gather our faith around us now. Let's go out of here today and finish this week strong. Welcome to today's edition of Take 5. Hey, this week we have been dealing with the subject through faith and patience. We are drawing that from Hebrews chapter 6, verse number 12 that says we should not be lazy, but that we should imitate those who through faith and patience inherit the promises of God. Now, we've already talked about the necessity of going through things. Now we're dealing with this faith idea. This concept of faith, when you begin to ask people about it in the church, you'll get all kind of different definitions, but when it is rightly divided from the Scriptures, you find that great faith is revealed when you still trust God with the outcome, even though it may be contrary to what you were hoping or praying for. In Matthew 15, we looked at the story of a Syrophoenician woman who was seeking the Lord to come and heal her daughter and deliver her from demons. And from that story, we learned some things about what it is to acquire great faith, because Jesus had identified this woman's faith as great. And so we want to copy that and duplicate it if at all possible. We've learned that number one, she had the person of her faith right. Number two, the purpose of her faith was valid and legitimate. Number three, her faith was persistent. She did not quit, even when the disciples asked the Lord to make her stop. And fourthly, the position of her faith was rooted in worship, because worship has nothing to do about the way we feel or think. Worship has everything to do with faith. Today, the last point is the persuasion of our faith. Our faith has got to be persuaded beyond doubt. As a matter of fact, when you define it, you get two different definitions of that word, and here they are. Number one is to believe and be convinced of something beyond doubt. This woman's faith was persuaded beyond doubt that Jesus had the ability to deliver her daughter from demons, and nothing was going to change her mind. Second definition is to provide a sound reason for someone to do something. Not only was her faith persuaded, but her faith was so great that it persuaded Jesus to act. And that's the type of faith that we're seeking. When you read the end of that story from Mark's record of it, Jesus says to her, "Woman, I can't do this right now. Let the children be fed first. It's not right for me to take the children's bread and throw it to dogs." But here's her statement that caused Jesus to say, "You've got great faith." She said, "Yes, Lord, I know that, but even the dogs get the crumbs that are under the children's table." Wow, what a statement there. Her faith was so great. Even though she was a Gentile, and even though she had been raised in a pagan religion, she knew without a doubt that Jesus had enough power, not just for Israel, but every other nation as well. Not only that, by her referring to crumbs like she did, she knew that God had enough power in just a crumb. Just a crumb of His ability was all it would take to drive the devil out of her daughter. I believe it would do us good to go back to knowing that our God is supreme, that He's able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we could ever ask or think. And just a crumb is enough to suffice us. When you take Matthew's writings and Mark's writings and you put them all together, you come up with this great conclusion of how Jesus saw this woman's faith. So great was her faith in the eyes of Jesus that He responded immediately and said, "Woman, go home. Your daughter's healed already." I've not seen faith like this in all of the place of Israel. Now, there was another guy that also prayed for his children, just like this woman prays for her child. And he didn't quite get the same results. And we need to look at him just a second before we go. And doing this will help us balance this thought on Hebrews, where we learn that sometimes the answer is good and sometimes the answer is not necessarily so good. That man's name was Job. The Bible said in Job chapter 1 that he prayed for his children continually. And even though he was an upright man, an honest man, a man that loved God and hated evil, even though he was that kind of man and had great faith, the results he got were not the same. Because the Bible said when you get into the latter part of chapter 1 that a great wind came across the wilderness, struck the four corners of the house, and it fell on all of his children and killed every one of them. What was Job's response? The Bible said he arose and tore his robe and shaved his head and fell on the ground and worshiped. The same thing this little Syrophoenician woman did when she fell at Jesus' feet in worship. Job did the same thing and said, "That's fine. Naked I came from my mother's womb. Naked I will return. The Lord has given. The Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." Wow. What kind of faith does it take to trust God when you're praying for something and the opposite happens? That's great faith, my friend. So whose faith was greater? The Syrophoenician woman whose daughter was delivered from demons, or Job's faith, who held fast to God even though all 10 of his children were killed? Let me tell you something. Great faith is not determined by the outcome. It's determined by the trust you have in God regardless of which direction things go in your life. I want you to take that thought with you today and the rest of your life. Take that thought with you, because things aren't always going to work out like you want in your mind. But faith in God will always be successful regardless of the outcome. That's why we don't trust Him for the journey and we don't trust Him for the outcome. We trust Him because He's God. Well, hey, it's been a great week. I got to get out of here. I look forward to worshiping with you this Sunday at 10 o'clock in church here. And I look forward to being with you right here Monday when we look at Take 5 one more time. I believe God is speaking some great things to our heart through this. Hey, have a great weekend. Trust the Lord. He will never fail you. Trust Him through the good and through the bad, because I guarantee you He has your best interest at heart.